Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is one I've had quite a few requests for, so I thought it was about time to put together a tutorial all about Digi stamps or digital stamps, what they are, and some of the many ways you can use them within your creative projects. As many of you know, I have quite a few Digi-stamp collections available on my Etsy store, and I've had a number of questions from people wondering exactly how they work, how to get the most out of them. So today I'm going to walk you through some of my favourite ways to use them and hopefully give you plenty of inspiration along the way. In this video, we will be looking at how Digi-stamps can be used to create your own backgrounds and papers to use within junk journals, scrapbooks, card making, mixed media projects, and other paper crafts. If there's anything I've missed as well, guys, or if there are any other techniques or tutorials you'd like me to cover in the future, please do let me know in the comments below. I'd absolutely love to hear your suggestions and ideas. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to everyone who has supported my creative journey so far. So whether you followed my page, watched a video, downloaded a freebie, purchased a kit, or left kind comments, I truly appreciate every bit of support, so thank you so much. Sharing tutorials and creative ideas like this is one of the ways I just love to give back to this wonderful community, so thank you guys. And as always, if you enjoy the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps support the channel and lets me know that you'd like to see more tutorials, crafting inspiration and creative projects in the future. Now then, let's get into today's tutorial. Okay, so I am using Photopea, which is a free online version of Photoshop just for this tutorial, and I'm just setting up the workspace. I'm just clicking A5 just for this example. So what I'm going to do is going to add just a plain aged paper to the background just to give it a bit of a background colour. And over the top of this we're going to be putting the Digi stamps, so I'm just going to go to the folder where the Digi stamps are, and I'm just going to start adding these in. So you can resize them to any size you want, you can move them to wherever you want on the page. You can open and place, or you can drag and drop from a different folder if you're using a desktop computer. I always find this is easier, so I'm just going to do that now. I'm just going to set all these out and just place them in different places, different parts of the sheet, just so it fills it up a little bit. Okay, so that's all of them placed, and I'm just going to click on the first layer, hold shift, and then click on the bottom layer of all the Digi-stamps, and I'm going to merge these layers together so it just creates one layer of Digi-stamps, which acts like an overlay. And now I've actually got another folder with some other textures overlays, so textured Digi-stamps, which I'm using for this example. You don't have to do this. This is just to show what these can do. Now I'm going to just sort of resize it so it fits the page and just sit it so it's just sitting over all of the stamps, and then click OK. So once this is placed, you're going to select the layer, and then we're going to right click, and then we're going to select pixels, which then just highlights all of the pixels in that layer. And then we're going to select the layer underneath, which is the Digi-stamps, and then we're going to go to the edit tab at the top, and then we're going to click cut. And then what you want to do is make a new layer above the Digi-stamps, click edit again, and then click paste. So you've basically cut some of the stamps away, and then you've edited it, and you've pasted it above the layer. So you've got two layers there. You can play with that. You can have like a distress look to the stamps if you like. And you can mess with the opacity as well. So what I've done here is I've just lowered the opacity a little bit. So I'm gonna, if I can zoom in, you can see where it's just sort of giving it a little bit more texture. So you can see that's what it looks like when it's fully there, and then obviously lower the opacity. I mean, you don't have to do this. This is just a little thing I do just to make it look a little bit more aged, and it sits on the paper nicely. So then what you want to do is, if you've done it this way, you want to select them two layers. So press Shift, select the first layer, and then as you're pressing Shift, select the second layer underneath. You want to merge them to the two Digistamp layers. And what I'm going to do here, because we've still got that texture, we've lowered the opacity to some of it, we want to change the colour of this layer. And you can see if I zoom in there, if I select make a new layer and then click clipping mask. So the layer, we want to make a layer above the Digistamps, make a clipping mask layer, and then you want to find the colour that you want to change this to. I'm going to select a brown, so just to match the background a little bit. So just select like a dark brown, click OK, and then you want to grab your paint bucket tool. Once you've got that, just click that layer, that clipping mask layer, and that should set the colour of the Digistamps. You can have them any colour you want. This is just the way I do it. There are obviously other ways of doing this, but this is the way I would tend to do it. And there you go. That's how to overlay Digistamps onto a paper background, and that's it printed out. So that is one way to do that. And you can actually just print the Digistamps layer as it is on any paper that you wish as well. Okay, so in this one we're sticking with Photopea, and we're going to just keep the A5 size just for the sake of this tutorial. We're going to start playing with layering some Digistamps to create a digital paper. So I'm starting again with some aged, just plain paper, or like a coffee stained paper. And then I'm going to start bringing in some textured Digistamp or overlays into this as well. And there we go. So once this is set in place, you're going to make a new layer. And then above this, we're going to do like we did before. We're going to make a clipping mask. And then we're going to select the colour that we want to colour this Digistamp. So I'm going with the brown again. And again, grabbing the paint bucket tool and then just clicking anywhere on the page, as long as you've selected the right layer. So the clipping mask layer is now holding the colour. If you go down to the Digistamp layer, so just under where you've coloured it, just under the clipping mask layer, you can then start playing about with the effects on that particular layer. So here you can see screen, linear dodge, all different effects that you can add to it. You'll know this if you use Photoshop a lot as well, so you can do this in Photoshop. Okay, so I've decided to stick with hard light effect, and then I've grabbed another Digistamp / overlay. This is a bit more like a damask, floral, a vintage floral type of pattern. And just so you can see there, I have just moved the layer above. So you want that next layer, so the stamp you've brought in, you want that above everything. And then we're going to make another layer on top, do the clipping mask, and then with this you can basically go back in and choose any colour you wish. I'm going to go for a blue and grab the paint bucket tool, click anywhere on the page, and there you can see it's now holding the colour. And then if you click on the, I'm just going to rename this actually so I don't forget, pattern overlay, and then we'll rename the other one. You don't have to do this, this is just so I can keep track of where I am. Grid overlay. So make sure you've selected the Digistamp layer, and again you can change the opacity of either one as well, just so you can see there. And then we've made another layer above And I'm going to start bringing in a couple of other digi stamps now. These are, I think these are Baroque ornamental stamps. I can't remember the actual name, but I will put this in the description below. I'm just going to sort of place these on the page. Very similar to the pattern in the background as well, which looks quite nice all together. You can do this landscape as well, by the way, guys. You don't have to do this portrait. This is just for the sake of the tutorial. Again, I'm just selecting all them three that I've just imported into the design, merging the layers, make a layer above, and then add another clipping mask, and then I'll just call this top pattern pieces, and then we know where we are. And again, just changing the colour. So I'm going to slightly change that blue. I'm going to go a little bit darker, add the paint bucket tool, and then click anywhere on the page. And there you go. You've got the blue over on the pattern. And yeah, so you can select the stamps layer, just which is underneath the clipping mask colour, and you can change any of the effects on that layer as well. So you can just play about with it and just be, you know, just be adventurous with it. You might come up with different designs as well when you play with these effects. I like the fact that you can just get, you know, different effects come out and you don't really know what you expect, what's going to happen to the design. You can just play about with it until you find something you like. So I'm going to go through these now and just see which one I'm going to stick with. Yeah, okay, so I'm going to go with exclusion there. I really like the effect. I think that works really well. Change the opacity a little bit so it just sort of sits well within the design. Okay, so just above this, so I'm making sure I've made a layer above that last one, and I'm going to start bringing in some butterfly designs. These are actually on my Etsy store as well. I think these are just butterfly digi stamps. I think that's what they're called. Again, I'll link these below, guys. So everything I've used in the video, all the links will be in the description. I'm just going to place these. I'm going to grab the two layers. I'm going to merge them together. So we've got one to use there. Make a layer above, clipping mask. And then I'm going to add a colour again. So I'm going to pick maybe a slightly darker blue to play with. Select the paint bucket tool, click anywhere on the page. And I'm going to go for the, yeah, that's it. So click the Digistamp layer if you want to use the effects, and I'm going to go with exclusion again because that really works well. And there we go, that's pretty much the overall design, and you can export this as a JPEG or any other file you wish. And there we go, that's what it looks like printed out. Yeah, I really like how this has worked. So that's layering Digistamps. Okay, so we're still on Photo P, and I'm going to grab the A5 design this time and make it landscape. So just for the sake of this tutorial, show you what a landscape design will look like. I'm going to take one of the paper backgrounds for this as well, just to give it a bit of texture, and then just resize that to fit the page. And then click OK. That's it, get it in the center. Click OK. And there's the paper background. So I'm going to grab the adjustments and just change the brightness a little bit. Bring the brightness up slightly, and then go back to, sorry, not mode. We want to go to adjustments and then hue and saturation. And just bring the saturation down a little bit. Not fully, but just down a little bit. So we're going to add a colour above there. So we're going to click a layer, new layer above that, paper layer. Select the paint bucket tool, and then we're going to grab a colour for this. So I'm going to go for a pink, and then just make it a little bit lighter than that. That's it. And make sure you're clicking the layer above the paper layer, so it's a separate layer. Click the paint bucket tool and then fill that in. And now I'm going to go into a distress textures folder and just grab one of them, import it into the design. This will sit on top of all the layers. I'm just going to resize it and sit it in the center and click OK. So you're then going to right click on that layer and then select pixels like we did before. Click the layer below, which is the colour we've just added, and click cut. So it's going to cut out a section of that layer. Make a new layer above, and we're going to go to edit and we're going to paste that in. So we're going to hide the top layer, which was the distress texture, and then you can see if we just hide the other layers, which we've just cut into two pretty much, you've got a bit of a distressed look. You can drop the opacity on one of them slightly if you like. You can take one completely out and just use one on its own. It's completely up to you, but that's just a way of how I make a bit of a distressed look for a background using one of the overlays or the digistamps. And now over the top of these, so I'm going to make sure that our layer at the top is selected. I'm going to start importing some more digistamps. These are the antique French plate digistamps that you can also find on my Etsy store. I really like these because they've got a really decorative feel to them, all different French words. And I'm just going to start layering these onto the design. Okay, so they are all layered and in place. I'm going to click the top layer, press shift, and then click the bottom layer. So and then merge these together so we've got them all in one. And then we're going to right click and click select pixels. And we're going to go back down to one of the color layers that we used before, if you remember. So we're going to click on that. While we've got them selected, go to edit and cut, and then make a new layer above that, edit and paste. And then the top layer, which were the digistamps, we're going to just hide that. And there you go. You can see you've got, it's almost like an inverted digital paper. So you can select either one of them. And you've either got the pink writing or you've got the negative, if you like, of that as well. So you can do two different styles there. So that's just another way I would do that as a more of a distressed look. And that is the final printed design. Thank you so much for tuning in and spending some crafting time with me today. I really hope you've enjoyed this digistamp tutorial and found it helpful, inspiring and easy to follow. I'd love to know which one of the 3 digistamp techniques featured in today's video was your favourite, so please let me know in the comments below. If there are any tutorials, techniques, products or crafty topics you'd like me to cover in the future, I'd love to hear your suggestions too, guys, so please drop them in the comments as well. And as always, thank you so much for your support. Every like, comment, share and subscription helps support both my channel and my creative journey, and I truly appreciate every one of you. Until next time, stay crafty, stay creative, and most importantly, have fun creating. Bye for now, everyone.